Welcome to Orange County, California. My name is Brad Pomerantz. We are at the 5th Annual California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Let's go take a look inside. We're here with Irma Cervantes. She is with Bright House Networks. Give us a bit about Bright House.
Well, Bright House is a cable, internet, and phone company, but we also pride ourselves in offering scholarships and competitive awards to our local students and to promote education and to promote our future leaders.
And here in the state of California, where does Bright House serve?
We serve the area of Kern County. The largest city we serve is Bakersfield, but we serve the outlying communities, several outlying communities that include Delano, McFarland, Shafter. And so a lot of people here are surprised to hear that we are in California.
Why is Bright House here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair?
Well, really just for that reason, because there are a lot of people that recognize the larger cable companies in the state of California, but because our biggest footprint is in the state of Florida and here in California, we're only in the Central Valley, companies may not be aware that we're here. So I think it's important for us to let them know that we're here, that we're available to do business with them. But we also want to promote all the wonderful things that we're doing in our community.
And give us a sense of what Bright House is doing to try to increase supplier diversity. And I ask that also considering that Bright House does serve the Central Valley, which is such a wonderfully diverse area.
Yes, well, I can't speak to the specifics of doing business. You'd have to, of course, talk to our folks in procurement. But I can tell you specifically to my role is multicultural marketing. And at Bright House, we've really extended our multicultural efforts because we see and we realize there are community is so diverse, so we need to be specific to, all the diversity that is in every area that we serve. So that is really what our strength and my role is here today and every day.
We're here with Sandra Magana-Cuellar. She is with Charter Communications. Tell us a bit about Charter in California.
Charter Communications in California has a regional headquarters in Irwindale, but we service Southern California, the counties of LA County, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ventura, and then we head up north to San Luis Obispo, Santa Clara, and then we have a sliver way up north, Redding and Anderson, and about over 300,000 customers, both residential and commercial.
So why was it important for Charter to be here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair?
Well, being in California, it's a very diverse demographic, and with that comes, a lot of businesses that are diverse, and so we have a commitment to make sure we support local, diverse, small, minority-owned and women-owned businesses, and so we've been a participant of this fair for 5 years now because we do value diversity, and we want to make sure our vendors and our suppliers reflect the diversity of our customers.
We're here with Ed Salcedo. He is with the Supplier Clearinghouse, which is what, sir?
Well, the Supplier Clearinghouse is a one-stop shop for certifying minority, women, LGBT, and disabled veteran firms in California to do business with the California Public Utilities Commission and their investor-owned utilities and joint utilities. So we have about 25 separate utilities that will recognize the certification through the Supplier Clearinghouse.
How does one actually become certified? What do they have to do?
Well, we actually have made it very simple now. We have an online program that allows any business that is either minority-owned, women-owned, disabled, veteran-owned, or an LGBT firm to go online and go through the certification process online. Now, depending on your situation, for example, if you're a smaller business, then we have a fast-track program. If you've been certified with other certification programs like WeBank, we are able to reciprocate that certification and allow you to get through that certification process much quicker.
And if one is certified as diverse, what happens? What does that mean?
Well, actually, that's a great question because once you're certified, the California Public Utilities Commission has implemented a program that has specific voluntary goals for the various utilities. So for an example, a minority business, we have a 15% goal for the spend done by the various utilities. For women-owned businesses, we have a 5% goal that's been implemented, and for disabled veterans, we have a 1.5% goal. So, for an example, we have some of the utilities and some of the investor-owned utilities that have significant number of spend going to minority, women, and disabled veteran firms, some as high as 40%.
Victoria Leonito is with Time Warner Cable. She works in procurement and contracts. She is part of the team engaged in one-on-one interviews, one-on-one networking sessions at this Supplier Diversity Fair. How's it going?
Very good, thank you, Brad.
What do you hope to learn, to gain, to achieve today?
Well, I'm here primarily to help support Time Warner Cable's supplier diversity efforts. I do contracts management, that's my full-time job, if you will. But I like going to these events because I love meeting the vendors. I love telling them about Time Warner Cable Supplier Diversity Webinar that we hold every third Thursday of the month. So in terms of what I want to learn, it's about the vendors, what they are coming here for, what services they provide, so that I can think about who I can introduce them to within the organization.
Yeah, and give me a sense why this one-on-one meeting you think is so invaluable as opposed to simply calling procurement and saying, I'm interested.
I think it's about developing rapport, the personal relationship. I get a sense of them as a person and their organization, what it is that they do, and so it helps to have that one-on-one personal sort of interaction.
Gary Underwood is with Government Affairs here with Charter Communications, and I want to get a sense from you, Gary, why is Charter here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair?
Well, well, first of all, I think it's because it's the right thing to do. But I think there's a need for our company to find new and unique ways to get involved in all aspects of the community in California, and that includes business on the recruiting side. We need to find ways that we can more reflect what our customers and what our community looks like, and this is one of those opportunities. It's one of many, and it's certainly not the only one. But it allows us to get a feel for what we need to do and find things that we should be doing in the future as this company continues to grow and expand.
What makes this opportunity unique, though? The opportunity to have one-on-one sessions with the decision makers, the opportunity to meet you and other leaders in the company. Why this fair? Why is it special?
Well, I think even though, and let's face it, we're a technology company where we rely on video conferences and phone calls all the time, but there's really no way to replicate the one-on-one interaction that you get. And when you get to sit across the table from someone and look them in the eye and talk to them, it's, I think that's a real difference maker. And that's what these opportunities really afford us. So, the more of these you can do, I think it's good for our procurement people. I think it's great for those folks who want to come on and get an opportunity to sell themselves. It's a win-win for everyone. And certainly, for us, we get a chance to come here and see it, and we get to talk to you. And so, it makes us very happy.
Marva Johnson is with Bright House Network. She's here representing the company at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Why are you here? Why is Bright House here?
Bright House Networks is committed to diversity. We've done a fabulous job in making sure that as we look at our programming, as we look at our employment, we are making sure that our company reflects the communities we serve. One area we've been giving more attention to recently is just making sure that we extend that commitment to diversity across our supplier diversity process. And so we're here today in furtherance of our efforts to make sure that we're inclusive in our procurement process. So we're excited about it.
And what makes this fair such a valuable tool, not only for Bright House, but for the companies, the suppliers as well? Why not just call it the procurement manager?
Oh, this is a valuable tool because we'll do two things here today that we don't do in your general, let me just reach out to the random procurement manager process. Today, we'll talk about where our industry is and what opportunities our industry will have to confront in the next 2 to 3 years. That will give vendors an opportunity to see where they can come meet us and help us get to our goals as a company and help our industry meet our goals, especially in the technology space over time. It also gives us face time with vendors so that we can get a better understanding of what services they're bringing to the table. Sometimes it's difficult to get your pitch across when you're simply sending an email or you're simply a part of a pool of resources that someone can pull from electronically. That FaceTime with our procurement executive is really meaningful in terms of helping to really connect the dots on what opportunities we might see a vendor possibly fitting into.
And I want to connect the dots on the future because, like you said, the cable industry is moving like warp speed in terms of advances. So what are your colleagues telling the suppliers about what cable needs in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, if we know?
Well, for the most part, what we know our subscribers want is better access to our service. So we're focused on making everything that we do portable. We want to make sure that we have apps. So, if you can connect to the service in your house, that's great. But if you can connect to the service everywhere you are, that's even better. So we're looking for suppliers that can help our effort to extend that.
Richard Benbow joins us from Time Warner Cable's Government Affairs Department. Why is Time Warner Cable here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair?
Well, Brad, as you know, this is the 5th annual California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Time Warner Cable has been here all 5 years, happy to say. We're here because we feel it's important to identify diverse suppliers to help us go forward in this industry. I think the success of all these companies depends on identifying those small, niche, diverse suppliers that have something new, something unique, something innovative to contribute to our industry. I think overall, it's been good for us from the standpoint of that we've made connections, we've facilitated relationships, and it's just been a tremendous event to be a part of.
Jose Perez is the chairman of the California Utilities Diversity Council. Clearly, today is an important one for you. Tell us about the council and why it participates in the Supplier Diversity Fair with the cable industry.
Well, California is a leader in the supplier diversity arena, especially companies that are doing business in California. Our council represents every population segment. Is very inclusive with a focus on trade associations. And so supplier diversity is a strategic goal of ours. And we've set some benchmarks that are, groundbreaking. No one in the country does better than California. So we're very proud of today and the fact that Charter and Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and other companies have brought together such an impressive group of business owners to look at whether or not there's matchmaking opportunities, business opportunities, and so we're very grateful for that.
Give us a sense as to how California is the leader that you described.
Well, on average, California-based companies and companies doing business in California average between 21% to upwards of 50% in supplier diversity. In California, last year, we hit $8.8 billion of supplier diversity opportunities for women, people of all backgrounds, service-disabled veterans. And so we're very proud of the fact that all states come to California to find out how we do this.
Why is supplier diversity important?
Because in America, we have economic segments that are developing and that are emerging. And like everyone else, they're bringing in quality services, quality work, and at very competitive prices. So the companies tell us they get a really good bargain. They get outsourcing that are much better deals. And so they're, very pleased with the outcome. And so part of it is obviously economic opportunity for the larger company, but for the community, it's community development. Because a lot of the folks here, small business owners in particular, hire people from their communities, hire people from their neighborhoods, and so consequently, the economic cascade effect goes down to the neighborhood level.
Michelson is one of the participants here at today's California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Sir, why did you attend? Why are you attending?
Well, I am a resident of Los Angeles, and so obviously it was close by, number one. Number two, of course, it's a specific industry which is for the cable industry. And obviously with some of the regulation that's going on in the cable industry, very, very shortly with rules and regulations, it's going to be more of a public utility. And so I do work with the financial services industry and the public utility industry, and I was given the opportunity to meet with a couple of companies today, so that's why I'm here.
Tell us about your meetings. You could have called someone on the phone and spoken with them or emailed them, but you chose to make the trip. What was that the right move to get that one-on-one networking time?
Well, we were given an opportunity to meet with the prospective corporations for about 20 minutes, and I think that's more than sufficient to explain what you do. So far, I've had one of my two appointments, and I didn't get a contract yet, but I did have good meetings so far, so I'm excited for that.
Todd Lewis is attending the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Why?
Well, we're an energy efficient lighting supplier, and we're now having discussions throughout the PUC and energy companies about energy efficient lighting. So we were invited to attend this year and meet some of the buyers.
Tell us what you think. How has it been? Cable industry, very significant in California, some big players. What have you learned?
Well, I think that, a lot of the larger companies work through certification as standard for a lot of small business, but they're very accessible.
Why do you think these types of fairs can be valuable tools for companies like yourself? The ability to chat one-on-one with decision makers, with leaders in various divisions within a company like Charter, Cox, Time Warner, Bright House.
A lot of large infrastructure companies are extremely tough to approach from a small business perspective. What we found by attending forums such as this, it allows us a foot in the door.
So what have you learned about the cable industry, about their efforts towards supplier diversity, and how do you tend to leverage that knowledge?
I think, as a principal in my firm, I think that, the opportunities are there. It takes two to tango, and I think that this type of venue, it has allowed us an opportunity to really make a difference.
So these are two of the decision makers we've been discussing with Charter Communications. Jim is in facilities, Brian is in warehousing. You've been engaged in the one-on-one meetings, the networking sessions. How have they gone?
They've gone very well. We've met with several people so far. We've gotten a lot of different construction contractors and yeah.
What have you learned, Jim, in your conversations, and what do you hope to learn?
We're finding good minority-owned businesses. I've done this is my fourth year here. So in the past, we've found new vendors that we've used. It's worked out really well for us, and we welcome the opportunity to find new vendors that will bring something new and different type of vendors to us, and it's a real value.
What makes the chance, Jim, to have a one-on-one conversation so critical? I mean, I could send you an email and say, oh, here's my friend, he's been certified, but why is this better than my email?
Because face-to-face, we get to really get information from them that tells us about their character, about their company, what one-on-one they can tell us exactly what they do, and it gives me the opportunity to ask them questions to see if they fit with what we're looking for.
Nancy Stasior is at today's California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Why did you come?
Well, I am part of the PUC certification, and I met a supplier diversity through another event, and he invited me to come here today.
Why do you think these events are important to hold? What makes them valuable tools for suppliers?
Well, you get to network. Absolutely. That's very important in business. You don't feel so isolated back at the office. From my experience, cold calling and reaching out, you actually get to come here and meet the corporations and just continue to network.
So tell me, how have your meetings gone? I grabbed you as you were walking out of a meeting. Tell us about your one-on-one networking sessions.
It was amazing. It's a pleasure to meet these wonderful people, and they talk about their business, and you get to meet them and talk about how much you can fit in with them organizations.
So where do you go from here? You've had great meetings. Now what?
Now what? Go back to the office, collaborate, reach out, and continue to learn and grow.
Julie and Tim are with RETEC. They're here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Why are you here today, Julie?
This has actually been our fifth event, and we're one of the sponsors. It has been very instrumental for us to bond and to meet with the cable companies themselves to explain what our capabilities are, get contacts so we could make sure that they guide us in the right direction for contract negotiations, and they help become our advocates as well to their internal operations people.
Tell us about the company, Tim.
We supply the backbone equipment, networking equipment to the cable and telecom industries.
So why are you a sponsor, though? It's one thing to attend and go to networking sessions. You're for real. You have a booth. Why?
We've been in this industry for 30 years now. Most everybody here is our customer, and we bring the value, the work ethics, and I think from a sponsorship standpoint it's a good role model for other new attendees to see what they can do with their organizations as well too.
Why do you think, Julie, these conferences, these fairs are important tools, valuable tools for the cable industry as well as the suppliers?
I believe the benefits of these kind of venues is bringing corporate America out to small businesses, especially minorities and diverse organizations, because it's a large environment and it's hard to figure out how to maneuver through, and this is one of the venues that allows a small business to enter into a market, with a large corporation like this.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to Summer and Tawana. I like this partnership. You are with a nonprofit, you are actually a vendor, so it shows how these types of relationships grow. Tell us about your nonprofit.
Yeah, so we certify women-owned businesses for corporate and government contracts. So people like Time Warner, Comcast, possibly even Charter, when they're looking for certified businesses, we are that certification of choice.
So why did you choose to come today, be a sponsor today?
It allows the corporations to inform the attendees where they need to get certified. So I'm just here to be a resource and educate the attendees.
So clearly, Summer's organization is doing something right. You came. Tell me about the organization, how it's helped you, and how you are now leveraging that to the benefit of your business.
Well, CB Technologies is a woman-owned business here in Orange County, and what we do is IT consulting. And by partnering with WeBank, we get a lot of exposure that we normally wouldn't get to some of the enterprise accounts that we're interested in doing business with.
Tell us more about your decision to be here today, though. You're busy, I'm sure, but there's something about this fair that brought you here. Why?
Well, the good thing about this is my CEO today is having a golf tournament. And she sent me.
I like honesty.
And this is honesty. And so she feels it's important enough to send me to come and support WeBank because they've done so much to build business for us.
Ron is with the Council on Supplier Diversity, which is what?
Okay, Council for Supplier Diversity is a nonprofit organization. Our focus is on leveraging the discipline of supplier diversity with major organizations like the companies here at this event today, leveraging that discipline with diverse suppliers, minority, women, service-disabled, veteran businesses, for the purpose of creating economic value, creating economic fuel to help underserved communities, in and around our local community here.
Why, by definition, does using the services of a diverse company benefit underserved communities? Give us a sense, quantify.
Okay, that's a wonderful question, because it's been my contention over the last several years that there's been a lot of, that the purpose for supply diversity is in fact that there's a belief that underserved communities will be helped. But the reality of it is that so much focus is on supply diversity spend, how many suppliers I have in my database, all of those things, and sometimes you don't get back to the initial purpose, which is to create value in underserved communities. That's why an organization like ours and others are a 501(c), because we should be bringing value to the public in general.
Kane Nicholas is with Goldman Sachs' 10,000 Small Businesses program. Why are you in the program here today?
We're here at the program here to expose entrepreneurs and small business owners to our wonderful program, which helps small business owners grow their business organically, as well as gives them the proper education that they need to hire people.
And so how does the existence of supplier diversity programs benefit 10,000 small businesses?
Well, in order to grow and to do business with the larger companies, you have to fully understand your business. And so how you work with your people, do you understand your financials? Do you know how to market to larger organizations, such as matchmaking events like this? Is really the type of training and the conversations that you have with other CEOs within the program.
Michelle Ray is with the Walter Cates Foundation. She is joining us here today at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. What is the Walter Cates Foundation?
So the Walter Cates Foundation is the diversity arm for the cable industry, and we operate under the auspices of the National Cable and Telecommunications Association, and we represent the interests of the larger or national interests of the cable industry, and we focus on many different things, including supply diversity, workforce diversity, and diversity in programming.
What is supplier diversity? What does that mean?
Well, supply diversity really addresses this whole notion of giving access to all sorts of vendors who may not otherwise have the opportunities to participate in a procurement process. So companies typically are small companies who may not be able to operate at scale for bigger jobs, but at least they can partner with other companies and organizations to help to kind of give them a lift.
And why is that important? Why, by definition, is that important?
Well, again, it's important because we're really trying to somehow level the playing field. And if small businesses who are otherwise somewhat disenfranchised are not part of the bigger conversation, if we can give them a leg up and an opportunity, I think it's important that we create events like this, or at least have them participate in events like this so that they can see what it takes, if they're not even ready, but what it takes to be able to participate in the procurement process.
Rob Morrow, one of the suppliers here at the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. He, in fact, is a veteran with a service disability, and proudly such. Thank you. Talk to us about why you're here today.
Sure, thank you. Hi. Well, we're here as a contractor, and we're in the industry of the telecommunications, and we do cable. I started off my career in the military as a wireman, and upon my departure in 1987, I went into the cable TV industry. Been in ever since. Certified, or actually started my own company in 1995. 2003, certified it as a minority disabled veteran-owned company. Since then, I've employed about 38 combat wounded veterans. I've been recognized by the SBA Small Business Week, as well as the president. At the Rose Garden, we are recognized there for having veterans. So we hire veterans, and we're also in the telecommunications industry. So
let me ask you though, why are these types of events valuable tools for you and your company?
Well, I think they're valuable for a lot of reasons, but primarily not only for myself, but I represent the disabled veteran companies as a whole, and a lot of these events actually help these other veterans as well as myself get exposure and opportunity with really what's going on out there in the cable industry.
Sylvain is joining us today from the California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair. Why are you here today, sir?
Well, I'm here working with cable companies to help them solve business problems and try to expand their reach and help their businesses thrive.
What makes events like this one an important tool, a pivotal tool for the industry as well as the supplier?
I think when you're dealing with diverse businesses, minority-owned, women-owned businesses, that it's a great introduction because all these companies have needs, and we have products and services that we create and help facilitate for them. And bringing us together just opens the doors that normally wouldn't be open.
No doubt that was an incredibly productive day, both for the cable industry and the suppliers, from the 5th Annual California Cable Supplier Diversity Fair in Orange County, California. My name is Brad Pomerantz. See you next year.
Nothing ever gonna make this world better if we don't start believing that love really, really, really is the answer. Everybody join hands 'cause it's time now.